Hey everybody!
Hey everybody, Naj and Jay here. And we are excited to interview today author, writer, editor, talented, and one of eight. The oldest of eight, Lenny Williams III.
The third.
The third, baby.
We're talking about lineage here right now, son. I love that actually.
Thank you for having us interview you. We have seen you all over the place lately.
Yes, for real.
So how does it feel to be a celebrity?
I don't consider myself a celebrity at all. Not in the slightest. Nah, you're the real celebrity. Now, but it feels good though to have like a bunch of events and giving out to the kids and just releasing these children's books so they can see them and read them and gravitate towards them because I'm headed off to a new path now where I want to start making more books for adults and also going behind the scenes with the kids as far as doing animation films in the background. Yeah, so that's what my new focus is.
Okay.
So what's the current book? What's the one you just dropped? What's the one we're talking about, today?
The most recent one is The Loner and the Goth. That's a Halloween story, almost like, Nightmare on Elm Street, the Michael Myers films, Friday the 13th. The Loner and the Goth was inspired by a whole bunch of classic 80s horror films.
Oh, what you know about classic
Okay,
that's what's up.
Yeah. So that's the big inspiration there. And so you have a loner kid who doesn't really talk to anybody in high school, and a goth girl who's also like pretty isolated, and they kind of connect with each other. And he finds out that she's a witch and has a witch family and everything. Yeah. And she's cool though. Doesn't cause any problems. She's the one that gets bullied in school, but he stands up for her one day, and that's how they get acquainted, and he finds out more about her life. Yes.
That's cool.
Where on earth do you store all of this book stuff? Because you had one book that you was pulling out the box.
Let me go get
Three
the
books. Yeah, go get the books.
Go ahead, keep talking.
They this thick. Where do you get all of this? Like where
Books on books.
Okay. Look at this.
Look, we're gonna show. I'm gonna let you hold them. Well, I can take up some space for now. Which is the one that we're talking about right now?
Underneath
the big
one.
Golly.
Let me see.
The movie script. It's written like a movie. So yeah, like you see, it's in like a VHS format.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And it's written like a movie script. Yeah.
This is really cool. Put this a little bit closer to the screen.
Oh my
so y'all can
gosh.
see. How cool is that? All right.
This is really awesome.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you. Yeah. So just me studying a lot of films.
Oh, wait,
I'm a big movie buff.
So
yeah.
What I love just at this level. Is that it's atypical for a young black guy to write something like this. You would, because listen, don't get me wrong, but like a lot of times we'll write a book that has to be about race or it has to be about, something that's like
Good
about
love.
being black. But it's like, this is just a simple like 80s heart. You pull all these things in and it's just like people. And it's just creative for the sake of being creative. And I love that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Appreciate that.
That's
man.
dope.
Wait, I just want to say, when you open the book, open it. And look through the pages. So when you open the book,
Help me out.
it's centered. So typically you read from left to right, and it's got the left to right format. But this is centered, and there are scenes.
So,
Okay, can you break this down for us?
Oh yes. So it's really written in, you could say, screenplay format or movie script format, and just like how the cover it shows like the VHS format. I'm literally opening you into my world of what the film would be like if I were to make this into a film. And
I mean, that's the question. Are you gonna turn this into a film one
that's
day?
the goal. I want to pitch. I want to continue to pitch it, and I want either HBO, Warner Brothers, somebody to pick it up, so they can see the dedication and the hard work that I put into it, and how serious I am about making this into a film.
Right. So was all of this design your idea? Was this a collaborative effort, or was this like this is all of your brain working?
Yeah, that's all my brain working.
That's really great.
That's all.
My God.
And I love like as an old head, like the VHS. I'm like, oh, this is like home
But you know
to
what
me.
don't make sense?
What?
Is that these books are like this, but his text messages are short and sweet.
You are.
Like when we text him to set everything up.
Because he's got books to write. I ain't got time to play with y'all sending long texts like, yeah, I'll be there. I'm writing. I can dig it. I love it. Yeah.
I love this.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes.
Make sure you guys purchase.
Yes, The Loner and the Goth, Halloween, guys.
Okay, so tell us about your other books.
So we have Asha, the Princess of Matana. That was like one of the very first, I guess you could say, long formatted stories that I wrote. So it wasn't like a children's book, but it's more like a fairy tale for the younger kids, like a Disney movie.
Yep.
Like a Disney movie. So it's pictures inside. It's a nice fairy tale where this young guy from New York City wins a trip to a country I call Matana, and it's in Africa. And in this country, it's a kingdom, and they stumble upon this kingdom by sneaking around where they weren't supposed to sneak into, and they find out it's magical. So this town is ran on like spiritual energy and stuff. They can fly on these little machines. So it's like upgraded old school type of ancient Egyptian type civilization.
I get it.
Yeah. And,
These are all movies.
yeah.
I can see all of these as movies for sure.
Yes.
Short films, movies, cartoon series.
Yes.
Yeah.
My goodness. So when did you write this one?
I wrote that in 2017, so a year before Black Panther came out. I wrote
Oh
that.
wow, you're like, oh.
I noticed that I seen like, I was like, oh, that's cool, because like that's what I had in my book.
Clearly, Ryan Coogler jacked your
Oh,
ideas.
no. I wish I could say that was that, but you
We'll
know.
say it. It's okay.
but yeah. The with the Black Panther, I know like the comic books probably had stuff just like that, and they're just like, when it comes to ancient African civilizations, I know that especially when we think about Egypt, our minds go there though.
Yeah.
When it comes to how magical it probably could have been, and it goes to new heights. And so I thought about Egypt a lot, and I just put that in the story. You know what I'm saying? The magical aspect of it.
But again, it's just creativity for
Yes.
the sake of it. You know what I'm saying? There's no angle.
Yeah.
Like, I always have to have a point. Like, I gotta have some kind of a, like, you're just having fun, and I like to see that.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
absolutely,
saying?
absolutely.
That's great.
How many books in total have you written?
I've written 8. Now I do have like the 9th book I had it's a journal where people can write in there. So I don't really consider that as me just writing.
I want to make a journal.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it's called the journal is called Dear Summer. But overall, as far as writing the stories, I've written 8 books so far. Yeah.
And when you were like thinking about your very first book, what was your initial thought process? Did you just have an idea? Like, had you always been writing? Like, where did that come from?
Well, yeah, so when I was in elementary school, my teacher would tell me, whenever we have creative writing classes or sessions, she would be like, you're a great writer. You should really consider taking this serious. And her name was Miss Winchell. And whenever we would do the creative writing classes, my friends could illustrate really good, 2 of my friends, but I couldn't illustrate. Even to this day, all I could do was stick figures, you know?
So you're doing enough.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
And so they didn't like writing, though, my 2 friends, and so we were in a group. And I'm like, listen, guys, I could write the story if you guys illustrate for me. And so the story was called Good versus Evil. And I had Superman fighting Freddy Krueger. And so it was a whole bunch of DC and Marvel superheroes fighting all the bad guys you could think of. Like Hellraiser, Chucky, Jason, and all that.
And this is in what grade?
4th grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
The fact that you knew all of them in 4th grade.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was tuned in watching, you know, the AMC Horror Fest. I was watching that even then I was watching that.
I'm a horror film, like, I love horror films,
Yeah.
so I get it.
I used to really like horror films, and then I started having nightmares. So I had to stop watching them.
Yeah, and so she was psyched about it, right? Because the finale of that story, it had Jesus come down and beat all of the evil people.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like, and so she was like,
hysterical.
I don't even know how you came up with all this. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, you need to write. But I didn't. When she told me that, I never like took it seriously. I'm like, there's nothing I could do with this.
Yeah.
And so when I went to college, by my junior year, I was already taking up criminal justice. I had an English
It
class.
took that long. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I had an English class, I think either 102 or 201, and we had another creative writing class. I don't even know what I wrote, and I just know he came to me and was like, "You don't want to do criminal justice, do you?" And I'm just like, I said, "I think I do." I'm like, I'm just doing it because I guess it's gonna pay bills, right? And he said, "You need to become an author." He said, "I could tell you're passionate about writing." And I'm like,
Just in the way that you wrote like criminal justice pieces, right?
Yeah. And so I was like, "Are you serious?" And we're like, "Yeah." And then I'm thinking, I'm like, maybe I should give this a shot. And so that's when I looked up things on how to make a children's book, because I was DMing a lot of authors at the time, and like they would just read my message. I'm like, "Hey, how do you create a book?" Or, "Hey, can you give me advice on where to start?" And they would just read my message, but they wouldn't reply to me. They'd just read it, and I'm just like, okay, they're not helping me out. So let me figure out how to do this on my own.
Wow.
And so I had to figure out on my own, look up things on YouTube, and create it. But whenever somebody would ask me how to make a book, I answer them because I don't want them in the situation I was in where I felt like I was stuck.
Right.
So between like 3rd, 4th grade and college, like
junior year of college.
Yeah.
were you doing any? I mean, you had to write because you're in high school and all that kind of stuff. But like, were you actively actively writing anything? Was it just anything just for fun, or it just kind of reappeared when you were in college? Like, all right, now I'm going to really take this seriously.
Yeah, I wasn't doing like unless I had a writing class, meaning like we had to do something in English class, like a report or something. That was the only time I was writing. Other than that, I was focused on football, girls, and going to parties. That was it. I wasn't focused on
I will
anything.
say this. This is funny you say that because that was literally me when so that's how I was before I found music, and I've told that story a lot. Like I was straight football, video games, no interest in music. And then I got to college and completely switched, so I can dig it.
Yeah, man, that's how the growth happened. So once my English professor came to me and said that, I was like, all right, man, I'm gonna try it. And then from then on, I couldn't stop. I was addicted to going on. Yeah, because it was a learning process.
What do you think it is that the professor saw in that writing that was like, no, you got to be a writer? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you think?
I think how serious I took it. So when it came to like the reports or whatever projects we had in that English class, that literature class, I would make sure I made it the best way I could. So like I told you guys earlier, I'm a film buff. Like I love films, and I love when I can tell when somebody takes their time making a show good or taking their time making a movie good. So like Stranger Things isn't gonna be on Tubi. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to disrespect Tubi, but
I just put up the
But we know.
No, I'm playing.
you know what I'm saying?
We know.
And then like so when you watch those things, or like when you watch Family Matters growing up, you can tell that they did their best to make a good show, to make you laugh, and so I'm like, okay, that's how I approach everything when it comes to my art, when it comes to creating.
Right.
And he's seen that passion that I had, and I just didn't know that you could do anything with it.
Right.
As far as like, I'm just like, okay, just gonna. What am I supposed to do with this?
Right.
Because I didn't have any knowledge about it.
So you are 29.
Yes.
And the oldest of 8.
Oldest of 8, yeah.
The oldest of 8. I thought I had a lot of
He
kids.
had to be created to survive.
So tell us about your upbringing, because I think it's interesting when you have an artist who's so passionate about their art, where they come from. So tell us what where you're from and
What up, Stuffer?
So woman's in Delaware. I'm Leonard Williams III. So clearly my dad is Junior, and then Artise Williams. Her maiden name is Artise Goldsboro. That's my mother, and just being raised by them, I had my dad pushed work ethic on me. So like when I was growing up, because he didn't want me to have the lifestyle he had growing up, it was just, all right, you're gonna go to school, you got football, you got boxing. It was just like straight up discipline, you know? So because of that discipline, I knew how to stay disciplined when it comes to my art. So I'm not lazy when it comes to that because of how I had to come up.
That's I'm jumping in, but like, I don't want to go all the way down the rabbit hole, but to your point, I really fundamentally believe that all of that sports before you started getting creative adds to your work ethic.
Absolutely.
Like that's how I approach music, and she'll tell you, like I walk on the stage like,
He
but
did
like
look like he about to fight.
the same way that you work out and train for boxing, like that's how I approach music. So sorry, but
No, you're
it's
good,
exactly
you're good.
right.
And I remember that. I remember like when he was like, you're gonna go, you're gonna do this. And not only having him as a man in my life, the coaches around me were other men in my life. So it was like a village of these warrior class men that was like, you're gonna do this. So
That is huge.
being 9 years old, and I remember I had a boxing trainer named Mr. Lou at Western City, and it was I was 9. You remember Mr. Lou?
You must know Omar then.
Yeah, I know Omar. Yeah,
Go ahead,
Omar
sorry.
was a superstar at the gym.
Yeah.
So I was 9 years old, and Mr. Lou was like, we gotta run 5 miles, and it was hot outside, and I was like crying, like I don't want to do it. He said, listen, do you want to like? You have to, like, cause you're a man, you gotta do this. And I just remember crying while running and holding my hands up like this and punching and things like that. But by the end of that 5th mile, when we finally finished, I felt good that I finished. And that pushed me like, okay, if you can run 5 miles in this hot sun, then you can do anything.
Right.
You know? So,
And if you can do that, sitting up late at night doing this is way easier.
way easier.
Yep.
Way easier. So that
So I
taught
gotta
me a
run
lot.
5 miles.
Listen.
I gotta run 5 miles again. If I want to be good at this nowadays stuff, I got to run
Get to
5
stepping.
miles. I'm gonna make it 6.
Yes.
So I can shoot.
And on the nurturer side, my mom, she pushed education a lot.
Yeah.
So it was all about like, I want you to get good grades. I want you to try your best just to do what you can in school, you know, and like not everybody is the best at when it comes to
Yeah.
education, but you do what you can, Lenny. So it was like, all right, Mom, I got you. But because she pushed education so much, I was able to like take that and see where I was able to, maneuver in the writing field.
Yeah.
Also joining clubs, she told me to, make sure you join things when you get in high school, like class president and things like that. So I was being part of Blue Gold and drama club. I did all types of stuff, but my mom made sure I had a balance.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Penn Cater.
Yeah.
Rest in
Going
peace.
there. Penn Cater.
Your homecoming.
You did go with him. You
Their
did go with
homecoming
this
was
one.
on point, though. I tell you what. Yes, they were.
Yeah, the homecoming was on point, but Penn Cater is going now.
Oh, no, that's hysterical.
Yeah. So she had, because of her and my father, I had the perfect balance of, okay, knowing how to focus on education, being a part of school programs, knowing how to talk too, because I was very quiet as a young boy. But joining the programs in high school taught me how to like speak and be engaging with people.
Yeah.
And then the sports thing, I already told you guys about that. It taught me how to fight through things.
So what about your siblings? So you don't have to go through every single one, but like, what is the creativity level for everybody? Like, are you the most creative, or like, does everybody have their own thing?
Oh yeah, I think everybody, as far as the oldest are concerned, I think everybody has their own thing. So like me, of course I'm a writer. Lanaya loves fashion designing.
Let's pause right there.
Yeah.
Tell us where
That's
we are.
where we are.
Yeah.
So we're in.
Let's go ahead and shout your sister out and all her business.
So we're in Lanaya store right here. It's called Too Much, and it's located on. Don't hurt me. I think Market Street over here.
Yes.
How you from here? You don't know what street you're on.
This is 210 Market Street and too much. It's bright pink. You can't miss it.
You can't miss it at all.
And it's too much swag up in here.
Yes,
Too much
yes,
swag.
Yeah, so Lanaya does her thing with people know she's been doing her clothing thing for years now, but now she has Too Much. It's been here for about 2 years, and she's gonna keep it going. And other than that, after Naya is Lance, and he does music. He's working on music. He wants to do music, so. But me and Lanaya are the ones that the laziness isn't there as far as we gotta keep on going.
Did she play sports too?
Yes,
She's out
She
here
plays
with
sports too.
siblings.
See?
Said, we ain't lazy, unlike the other six.
I can see that you two bullied everybody else. You lazy little child. Get them 5 miles in, son. No, I'm not your dad, but I called you son.
Lanaya played basketball and ran track. I ran track as well. And our mom coached us in track.
Okay.
So she ran too, right?
Yeah, my mom ran
My
too
mom
for
ran
Newark.
track too.
Absolutely. So
She was like, y'all joining the track team.
Yep. And you know how it is too when you're exhausted and everything. Your chest hurting from running. So our mom would have us up in the morning getting ready for track too, in that type of way. So
Your parents were no joke.
no joke at all. And the thing is, we appreciate that because it taught us not to not do anything. We realize we gotta wake up every day
You value
and make
your
something
time.
happen. Absolutely. So I think, and plus at the age me and I are, we just realized that. I guess the wisdom came with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think the wisdom came with it too. And just growing up in the situation we were in with our parents, they were just really involved because our parents were young parents too. Yeah. So I think now my parents are like tired. But they were young parents in the beginning.
Basically, they're gonna leave you in charge now. Like, listen, we're doing the basically grandparent thing right now, and you go ahead and deal with them damn babies.
I mean, when you got 8 kids, you show he's tired.
Yeah, like you go ahead and raise the rest of them. That's how it is.
I am tired. I am
Oh
weak.
my God.
Yeah.
So when you told your parents, I'm gonna be a writer, what did they say?
Oh, my dad was like, he looked at me crazy. He was like, what about the whole criminal justice thing? Because I was, not only was I interning at a law firm, but I was also interning at the police department, getting ready to be a juvenile counselor and stuff.
I was supposed to be a psychiatrist, and I told my dad, I know you never heard me sing a note, but I'm about to do music. Continue.
Yes. And my dad looked at me, he said, are you becoming a hippie or something?
He's old school.
Your dad is hilarious.
Yes. And I was like, I'm not about to become a hippie. What the heck? Like,
It's a
what that even
book,
mean?
Dad.
Yeah,
I'm
what
just
does that
writing
even-
a book.
And when I hear hippie, I think about Woodstock and everything. You know what I'm saying? So like, but I'm just like,
I
yeah.
think of, okay.
That is fantastic.
But I was like, nah, Dad, I said, this is what I want to do. And he would just like, all right, like, long as you take it serious or whatever. But he wasn't feeling it at first. My mom, she was cool with it as far as, she knew that I would take it serious.
Yeah.
She knew how involved I would be in with it and everything. My dad had to prove myself first. So
Yeah.
Yep, I love that.
yeah, so when my dad saw me
Wow.
doing interviews, my dad seen me actually publishing a book. 'Cause it's one thing if I'm talking about it and nothing's happening,
Yeah.
Yep.
but he's seen action with it. So he was like, okay, cool, you got this. You're gonna be somebody. So
Yeah.
they eventually were cool with it.
So let's get ourselves in the space, right? So you're in your office, you're in your room, and you got your favorite notebook out, or you got your laptop out, you got a candle lit, maybe, a glass of wine or a soda.
A bunch of Henny.
You never know. You never know. Okay, it's a Parmesan. Tell us what you have to do to get yourself ready to start writing a new project.
I just need it to be really quiet, and then from there, I hit play in my head. So the movie is already inside my head.
So you start with a movie,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you write the book.
Yes.
Oh.
Because the thing is, like, a lot of creators are like this. We don't like to look at the specific medium we're in to make sure we don't copy off the medium. So if I'm reading J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter, I don't want to take words that she used or a concept that she used to put it in there. If I'm reading one of Colleen Hoover's romance books, I don't want to take the concept she has and put it in there by accident.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch a film.
Yeah.
So like I could watch a Richard Pryor movie, an Adam Sandler movie,
Right.
or something to make me laugh and do a comedy there. Because it's not specifically writing
Right.
that I'm seeing. I'm seeing visuals. And so I play that visual in my head of my own characters and use the vibe and then write everything down. That's how I create.
Who do you study? Like in terms of their writing, like who do you really pay attention to? Like who are some of the people that you really admire and kind of aspire to be like in your own unique way, obviously?
Oh yeah, so book-wise, Stephen King was one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, Stephen King, I really loved his work. And then the next person was Maya Angelou as far as the poetry. I love the poetry because like the way that it flowed and the way that she had me think, it helped me create like my romance stories in the very beginning. And then there was an author named Roald Dahl with the children's book.
Yeah.
So he made Matilda, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
That's our classic.
Yes.
That's our generation.
Yeah, so though his books inspired me to write all my children's books.
Yeah.
So Dreaming Their Way Out, Paradise, the stories that I made were all inspired by Roald Dahl's children's books.
Yeah.
And so that's what helped me out. Other than that, when it comes to all of my novels though, or in the novels I'm working on in the future, I literally have to look at a film or like study a script by like Seth Rogen or Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler.
Yes, I
It's a
studied.
lot of comedy.
Yeah,
Okay,
I studied their
cool.
scripts because
Yeah.
but with my future books, I want to have a balance between comedy, romance, and just realism of like how our everyday lives are.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how I look at it like that. I want to do something like that.
So say you have a lady friend. How do you have that conversation? Like, look, you can't come over for the next 3 months because I'm writing. Like, how do you balance that, your social life and your writing and editing?
It definitely hurt relationships because even like in past ones, it's like, are you gonna be more focused on this than us? And it's like I'm not trying to be more focused on this than us, but it's like I have a vision.
Do you want the check or not, woman? I'm trying to get the
I'm
bag.
trying to get that advance, baby. I'm trying to get that advance. Then we can go to Sizzler. Then we go to Red Lobster.
Yes.
You want red bottoms? or what?
Well,
Like,
then please just hold
or
tight
Burlington.
while I finish this program.
Yes. Absolutely, man.
Because when he said, I need you to be real quiet, I said, well, there goes dating.
Yep.
No, it's just you
Because
gotta
even
get that
women,
man.
the way our nails be on them phones, when we scroll and we trying to be quiet, listen.
Yeah, and so like I'm like, well, I'll let you know this in the beginning, but it's
Everybody wants a creative until they gotta be creative.
and the thing is, it made me realize like maybe like hopefully in the future like the woman that I do date or get married to is a creative as well because I feel like creatives understand each other.
Get yourself an accountant, bro.
They understand. I would think that they would understand each other.
You will find everyone has their own match.
Jay.
Every creative needs the business side, right? Like you write the book and you gotta have somebody slanging the books,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Do what you want. Like you'll find your own. But I'm saying, if you ever see a lawyer who's like, yo, let me balance you
She'll
out.
read her contracts.
You
and
know
you
what I'm
write the
saying?
book.
Run with it.
Yeah. Balance out. Well, if she understand the time that I be putting in,
She
then,
will.
You know what I'm saying? Then I'm cool. Other than that, like the sacrifice came where it was like, okay, I can see where this will hurt.
Yeah.
You know, in relationships and where it won't even help out at. So
Yeah.
that's the only thing. Even going out with friends and stuff, like it's like it's days where I want to go out, then days like, hey, listen, I gotta do this because I got a photo shoot for the cover. I gotta do this. I gotta do that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't make it.
Yeah.
And it's like. And I don't mind missing out on those things.
Because you
I
do
enjoy
what
it.
you
Real
love.
friends
Yeah,
understand because
exactly.
like, this man's trying to get his business right.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy. He said, well, it does hurt.
It does, you know?
Oh my God.
What do you have? Like, so we talked about this a little bit, but like, what do you have coming up next? Like, where's your focus going?
Oh, yeah, so now I have a bunch of series coming up that are going to be more inspired when it comes to adults reading them. So, like, my next story is going to be inspired by 50 Shades of Grey.
Okay.
Oh, it's in a
Yeah. It combined with the film Superbad. So I like combining things. So it makes you think like, okay, how is he gonna make this work? So not only are you gonna get crazy funny, but you're also gonna get the eroticism there.
Everyone likes to laugh. Everyone likes to do the do.
Yeah,
So it makes sense.
and that combination is like, I like to test myself because like, okay, how's this gonna work? And if people love it, they love it. If they don't, they don't.
Right.
And if it fails, it fails. If it wins, it wins. So it's me testing myself there. Then the next story is gonna be inspired by Poetic Justice and Rush Hour. And I combine them, and it's just like...
That's so
you know,
interesting
yeah.
that you were referencing movies.
For my generation, because
I'm not even thinking about that. First
I
of all,
am because I'm selfish.
Anyway, I love that the way that you're explaining this. So when I write a song, my best songs are poems first. But I hate turning them from poems into songs. But every time I write a really good song, it's a poem.
It's a poem first.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is cliche in a sense for singers, because a lot of singers write poetry,
That's
right?
cliche. I think it's a natural path. That makes perfect sense, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But for him, the movie, it's a movie and then it's a book.
Then it's a book, yeah.
But usually it's a book and then a movie. So I love that.
Yeah. That's how I gotta take it, because like I can't look at the book. Like I read a book when I'm not working on a project.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And that's
Okay.
and I can get creative there, but like just look about how they did it and stuff. But because I'm not working on a project, it doesn't hurt me in a way where I'm like, oh, I copied off their work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
So-
films, I got that.
Oh, which, listen, I love it. How do you, so you say it's got to be real quiet, but like, do you have like a timeline? Like, I'm going to write for 3 weeks, and like you plan your meals, and like, how does that work?
Yeah, so I know usually for my novels, it takes about 4 months to get the rough draft laid out.
Okay.
And then after that, I send it to an editor to get it done. Now, a prolonged situation is probably like 6 months for me. But I know that from the jump. But if I'm consistent with it, where it's like I'm sacrificing a lot, where I'm not trying to do anything besides go to work and get my work done, then it's 3 months max, you know?
And then you plan like okay, after work, I'm going to spend this many hours, and then I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to sleep.
Yep. And I don't watch no TV at all.
As far as like training.
Yeah, just like that. Don't watch no TV besides a movie, because the thing is, I get hooked on the series. Like if we're watching a Netflix series, we were hooked.
Yeah.
And I cannot have that happen while I'm working on a book, because I can't be distracted. But a movie is just like an hour or two long, and that's pretty much my break while I'm eating, and then I go ahead and get back to writing.
That's cool.
So do you write or do you type?
I type. Yeah. I used to write on a notebook and then type it, but it was too long, and then my hands start hurting. And,
So how do we buy your stuff? That's the main question.
yes.
How do we support
Listen,
you
he gave 2
and buy
of
your
each
books?
for a reason, so give me my books.
Yeah, so
How do we get your stuff?
So Lenny'sImagination.com and Amazon.com are the way you can purchase my stories.
Lenny'sImagination.com.
I love that, by the way.
Thank you
I love
so
that.
much.
Because, honey, my imagination is nowhere near as creative as this.
There you go.
Woo! So
there.
I have to say that he looks like that guy, What's his name?
Tyson Beck?
Yes, and she
Oh,
looked
that's
like
funny.
Aaliyah.
Yeah, so you're the first person that said it. Everybody keep trying to throw me in there, right? And I'm like, that's not me. But like, so the crazy part about that cover is the guy was from Turkey, and he was an illustrator. And I was like, hey, listen, I need like a handsome guy or whatever, like to be on the cover. I sent him pictures of like Tyson Beckford, I think Denzel Washington, Blair Underwood. And so I just try to mix it up
That's
somehow.
a good
right?
little mix.
And so and then I sent him Nia Long for the girl, Nia Long, Toni Braxton, and I think Halle Berry. I get back Aaliyah, and I'm just like, dude, I didn't ask. What are you doing?
He's Turkish, man. What you want that man to do? He ain't.
The prompts.
Yeah. And then in the story, it don't help because like the girl has passed away and she's 22, and so Aaliyah fans. And Aaliyah fans take it to like a max. I was getting messages like, "Is that Aaliyah?" Blah blah blah. And I'm like, can I mark it off these crazy fans? And I'm not trying to call them crazy, but like, and it was the fans that was like was deep into like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so sometimes I say yes, so they go buy the book.
That is definitely.
I love. Here we go again.
Oh yeah.
So the one thing that I love when I go into a bookstore, outside of the smell, because I don't know, but the smell of books, of fresh books, is. But when you open a book and you see the different fonts and like whether it's italicized or it's bolded, and then again you have like the formats for scripts or poetry, like it takes you like. It's literally a movie in the pages, and it keeps you from being bored. Because sometimes I'll read a novel, and like I'll look at the next page, and it'll be like one block, and I'm like, I can't do this. Yeah. But this keeps it spicy, you know. I think that's really interesting.
Thank you. And that's always the main goal for me too, is like to not get the readers bored. Because I think sometimes authors don't think about that part, where it's like they're explaining too much about a conversation going on, or like somebody's in the kitchen and they're going detail for detail about what they're making. It's like the reader don't really care about that part. They need the entertainment going. And so the hardest part is to keep the entertainment going, but I like to try to master that to make sure my readers aren't bored. And so it's one of those things that I love working on.
So, I mean, maybe you have, but why haven't you like done a film, a short film or a play or something like that?
Yeah, so that's the hardest thing with the film industry is like, when it comes to pitching, you're gonna get a lot of no's.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the cost of trying to do it yourself and wanting it to come out the way you want it, it's like, oh yeah, listen, I don't want to have it look ridiculous, because it's like, I can't grab a camera and tell people like, hey, you want to do this, you want to volunteer, you want to do all that, but the quality.
I feel like with the stuff that you're talking about doing in the future, like the sort of romantic comedy / those like the poetic justice, I feel like that's something that would be a lot easier to pull off than like the super fantasy stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you could figure out a way to make that happen.
Maybe even an illustrate, like a what do you call animated movie?
Animated movie.
For that type of stuff?
Yeah. And that's absolutely, and that's one of the things. So like, just like Jay said, so all those stories that you guys have there, I do understand that money-wise, that's a huge production cost. So futuristically, I was like, okay, let me work on these realistic type stories too. And that was in my head, like, okay, because
pull that off.
It's easy to pull off, and it's easy to get my name out there as far as
you gotta find
people,
good actors.
Absolutely. And for people to see the talent that's there and the passion that's there. So that's one of the main reasons I'm focused on that.
Filmmakers, as you were watching this, any contracts that you signed, Najee J gets 10%.
I know that's right.
Sorry. She said that, not me. Do you have any like a favorite passage or like quote in any of these books that you would maybe want to read? It just jumped in my brain. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
No, I don't think I have a favorite passage in any of them. But I can say like my favorite. That's a display copy too, right there. But one of my favorite stories though.
Which one?
Is I want to say, I think She's Divine is because She's Divine. Okay. A lot of people love the story. They love the chemistry between Noah and Diana in the front cover. Because she's taking him back and forth between like the spirit dimension and Earth. Oh. Because he's having out of body experiences when he meets her. Oh. Yeah. So like it's a. But Noah, it's a ghost.
I've heard that about myself from time to time.
Yeah, she needs an exorcist. She needs an exorcist, that's why.
What did he
She's
say?
having another out-of-body experience. Oh, God.
Yeah.
He's
So
such a
that,
hater.
so that was a cool part, and that's why I was like, oh, this would be cool. She looked like Nia Long, blah, blah, or Holly Berry, Tony Braxton.
Leave alone.
But yeah, he put a Leah Long. And so I was like, how much is it gonna be to revamp this cover? And he was like,
And the way she posing, she definitely looked like she about to do a music shoot. Like,
yeah.
wow.
She looks like she said, your love is 1 in a million. It goes on and on and on. You give me a really good feeling. That was terrible. No one should laugh at that.
I couldn't even pay to like revamp that. It was too much money at the time. It was $1,600. I was working at the movie theater.
Yep.
$1,600 to
Wow.
try to revamp that. I'm like, yeah, you got it.
I mean,
cuz.
it's a
It's a good cover, right? So I'm like, I keep it.
I think the big thing for me is that you see so many black faces on these books. Even with the girl with the locks. Like,
And
that
in
matters.
just a very, like I said again, non-traditional, just living life every day, or just totally fantasy,
Yeah.
outside of the box kind of way.
Yeah.
I really like that. It just
Yeah.
it's you're creating with a sense of freedom
Yes.
that
Yes.
everyone doesn't take.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
appreciate that.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I realized like we had needed that too because
Yeah.
while everything was going on around from 2014 to 2019, it was like a lot of artists, they were doing their jobs as far as, okay, we're gonna push this or whatever, we're gonna talk about what's going on in the world. I'm like, all right, well, I'm not gonna get swallowed up in the wave. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing,
Yeah.
but I wanna also make a classic story
Yeah.
for everybody to relate to.
Yeah.
Yep, I love it.
So where can we follow you, find you, buy the books again? I know, but he has an Instagram and Facebook, and he has an event coming. Don't you have events that
Oh,
you
yeah.
come
Oh
out
yeah, yeah,
to?
yep, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at Lenny's_imagination. You can also follow me on Facebook at Lenny Williams III. That's, you're gonna see the 3 Roman numerals. But and then on top of that, I have a event coming up on the 28th. Well, it's not my event, but I'm going to a Big Brothers and Big Sisters Delaware event in Dover for a trunk or treat event. And then on the 5th of November on a Sunday, in Ellesmere, it's a literacy walk hosted by a woman named Deborah Fetzer. And every year she has a literacy walk for the kids, and I'll be giving out my holiday books there, so my Christmas stories.
Okay.
So, yes.
What message can you give to aspiring writers? Two things. Aspiring writers, what can you give them? And then to people who need to find their freedom in their creativity.
Yeah, so the message for aspiring writers is to not give up, to not be lazy, and to look up things that you need help on. Because like I know asking questions to certain people you're probably gonna get left on red. If you ask me, I got you. But if you ask anybody else, sometimes they just don't want to hear from you. But other than that, you just gotta do the research on your own and to just not give up. And then I'm sorry, your second question was what again?
To people who need to find their own artistic or creative freedom.
Run!
You gotta.
Oh God.
And now if you're asking me, I think you should dream, right? Because dreams help me out. So I think with whatever's in your brain when you're dreaming, and that's your creative process, take those dreams and put them out. Now I know sometimes it's hard when you wake up from a dream and you forget about the whole thing. If you still have a memory that's held on to there when you wake up, hurry up and jot that down, and then from there create a story. Because that's how I pretty much started. I use dreams to help me out.
I love it. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you guys. I appreciate
Get
you.
all
guys.
the books.
All of them.
All the books. If you can read, get them. If you can't read, get them and have somebody read them to you, and then learn how to read them. Okay? Buy all of them up. The holidays is coming up, and we need these books sold out.
Yes, indeed.
Bam.